Hey everybody, it's Ron and Elliot back for another edition of Ask Ron. First up this week is Rashawn Powell from Florida.
Hey Rashawn.
Rashawn says, my new REO agent I'm working with is asking for the proof of funds letter before I make an offer because he says he needs the letter to allow us to see the property. How do I handle that situation?
Well, you don't need anything to go see the property. Just get in your car and go see it. You can probably see everything you need. That's not really the issue. Now the proof of funds letter is on our Go Club site. If you'll get on your membership page and look over to the left, it says proof of funds. So just go there and fill it out. But you need a property address to fill out proof of funds. So you probably should tell your realtor, if I find a property I like, I'll get you proof of funds. Again, you don't need the realtor to show you the house, and that's the last thing in the world you want to do is run around a realtor to show you houses. Look, we buy them from listingbook.com, which is an inbox feed every day of the houses. Because that has pictures on it right there that we just punch and pull up a sheet with all the information on it, we don't even go look at the houses before we make the offer. So you can make the offer, but I mean, without seeing the property, as long as you see some pictures of it, and then go see the property when an offer gets accepted, and then give them the deposit. But you are going to need proof of funds, but you do not need it before she'll show, before you see the house. Just get in your car and go. You're done. You see the house. If you want to. Again, we don't do that. We go see it after the offer is accepted, and we put in the agreement that the deposit is due 24 hours after the accepted agreement. So when applicable, use the proof of funds on your website. It's right there for you.
Okay, next up is two questions from Andre in Pennsylvania. His first question says, if land trusts don't work in PA, what is the best way to take title up here? And
LLCs.
LLCs. All right, well, there's that one. The second question is a deal. The after repair value is $85,000. The repair is $1,000. Seller wants $7,000 down plus $5,000 over 2 years, and he will leave the loan balance in his name. He borrowed the $7,000 to give the seller at 10% and rents out for $1,250 a month.
You mean who could borrow?
He does not say.
Who are we talking to here?
Andre in Pennsylvania.
Andre, I hope you're not telling me you want to borrow the $7,000 to give to the seller. If there's $58,000 owed on this property and it's only worth $85,000, no way I'm writing a check for $7,000 to that seller, regardless of where the money comes from. There's not enough equity in it. I might take over his debt and pay the closing costs, and I might owe him $7,000 when I'm cashed out. But I'll tell you right now, if he's got to have $7,000 down to sell you that house, I would move on. I would pass. Even if you put it under contract and agree to pay him $7,000 and you want to do an axe deal, which means you assign the contract, you're not going to get much more than that from a buyer regardless. So, why would you be doing it? If you're going to go out and do a deal and give all the money to the seller, I suggest you go find a better deal where you get to keep it instead of having to give it to the seller. He's getting debt relief. And my offer to him would be take over his debt subject to, pay his closing costs, maybe give him $1,000 or $2,000. That's it. And if he doesn't want to take that offer, as far as I'm concerned, he probably should keep the house. Okay.
Next up is Tim Barnes from New York.
Hey, Tim.
Tim says, Ron, I get it that if an owner does not want to offer owner financing or a lease option to whack them. But on your sheet you have an option if seller is willing to sell without full price and without all cash, but say no to owner financing or lease option. What strategy is this that you were suggesting?
Well, the only thing you can do if they won't sell it with owner financing or on a lease purchase is to option it, which means you're optioning it with the agreement to pay all cash, and then you go sell it for a higher price than that option. Problem with that is there needs to be a lot of equity in the deal that you can get for free, or you're wasting your time and energy. If somebody has a $200,000 house and they'll sell it to me for $180,000 and think they've done me a solid, it's a waste of time. Why would I want to option a property for $180,000 and then go sell it, bear some closing costs, do all that work, probably have to discount the price a little bit and wind up with nothing? So I'm going to need a lot of equity, or I have absolutely no interest in optioning somebody else's problem and cashing them out of it. Either I get a lot of equity or we move on and let them keep the home that they love so dearly.
Okay, next up is Morris from Florida.
Morris
says, I've been sending out yellow letters to communities in the area, but I'm not getting a good response. Can you advise what kind of people I should target?
Yes, Morris, I think you should fix your yellow letter because you have screwed it up in some way. First, you should know that we have a new company that will do the yellow letters for us now. You guys can all go to LeGrand That's LeGrand and they're doing the yellow letters my way. The problem with yellow letters is that they are so easy to mess up, and the sender doesn't even really know why they've messed them up. Example, the last company we had doing yellow letters for us, they wouldn't, there's nothing I could do to make that yellow letter really look like it was handwritten. It was clear it was not handwritten, even though of course it was in script. It was clear a machine did it. If it does not really look handwritten, your response will go through the floor. We tested that and proved it right here in Jacksonville just a few weeks ago myself. We did the one I liked compared to the one they were doing. Big difference. Mail them the same list, different parts of the same list. If that envelope does not really look like Grandma wrote it and have a live stamp on it, and if that flap is not tucked into that envelope, not sealed but tucked into that envelope, and if there's anything on that yellow letter other than, "Hi, my name is Ron, my wife is Beverly, we'd like to buy your house at, please call me at," and your phone number, the letter will fail. If you do anything differently than the way I've laid the campaign out for you, it will fail. If you put a PS on it, it will fail. If you add a phone number in it besides the one they called and get your Pat Live or you, it will fail. If you put a cell number in it, it will fail because now it's coming to you and you can't take the calls. If you put a website in it, you've killed it. If you put a business card in it, you've killed it. If you mail it in any envelope other than an invitation size envelope, your response will dwindle. Now, go back and figure out what you did wrong and fix it and watch your response go up. Now, of course, the list is important. We are currently mailing to high-end houses, some free and clear and some leveraged, and I'm just picking zip codes that I like, and frankly, I'm going to mail every high-end house in Jacksonville before it's over. The truth is, you can mail that letter to the phone book and get a 10% response on it if the letter is done correctly.
Okay, Ron, last up is our question from Jermon Claiborne in Georgia.
Hey, Jermon.
Ron says, he says, "Do I have a deal? I want to look at a property this weekend. It's a single family, 3-2, 1,750 square foot unfinished basement and move-in ready. The property is over leveraged with a monthly payment of $1,075. The owner would sell for $130,000, with the lowest being $125,000. I'm going to run comps tonight. He's open to acts, but for 2 years at most, and the asking price is $136,000.
I assume that means that the loan is $136,000, or because if it isn't, he's not over leveraged. If you have $130,000 value, he has to owe $136,000, or it's not over leveraged. So if he owes $136,000, I don't really know where the $125,000 and the $130,000 came from, because your question is really confusing. If he owes $136,000, there's only one thing you can do with it. Sign it up on a lease purchase and assign it to a tenant buyer and be done with it. Seller gets nothing, period. If he's asking $136,000 and he doesn't owe $136,000, then it's not over leveraged, so I'm having a hard time understanding your question. Again, it sounds like it's an axe deal regardless, so maybe if you clarify that question and get it back to me a little bit. And guys, when you send me these questions, you got to give me the numbers, you got to give me the facts. Look at the question you're sending me and ask yourself, would this make sense if I weren't the one writing this question? And make sure you get all the math in there. I always must know the ARV, the asking, and the loan balance, and whether it needs no repairs, little repairs, or a lot of repairs. You gave me the repair number, but I'm not clear on what the loan balance is or where the $125,000 and the $130,000 came from. All right?
Thanks for your help today, Ron. That's all the questions we have for you this week.
All right, here we are going into May, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're getting a good start on this year. It's almost halfway over. Get out there and get some deals going, and stay tuned because we're going to constantly be feeding you updated videos. In fact, we have a great video contained right here in this week's. You're going to see how one of our internal employees just made $25,000 on a house 1,200 miles away that somebody gave him, and then he put a lease option tenant buyer in it. And this will be his first deal that he's done that we can call an investment deal. So look at that video. It's right here on your newsletter this week. I think you'll be inspired by it. See you next week.